What's happening right now? We were peacefully marching down this street. We didn't do anything wrong. They promised us we could have the right lane to walk all the way to 441. We are one light from our destination. That's one light. We're one light down from our destination. Look how many cops are blocking us. They asked us to get on the sidewalk. We're on the sidewalk. We are peacefully on the sidewalk, and they will not let us walk through. This is not democracy.
So we're here today to talk about the peaceful protest that we attended yesterday. It started in Okeeheelee Park.
This is a peaceful demonstration. We will not touch things that does not belong to us. We're not going to go back and forth with people who don't believe what we believe in. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I'm hoping that they can respect that and you guys can respect theirs as well.
And we were supposed to march from Okeeheelee Park in West Palm down to 441. It was not even a mile long that we were supposed to go, and it was extremely peaceful. The organizer of the event was Windermere Pierre. He is a 19-year-old boy, and he met with the cops beforehand, yet the day before, for about an hour, and had a discussion with them about what we were going to do and the fact that we were going to be peaceful, and they agreed to it. Then met again with the cops right before we went out there, and they came to an agreement that we would be able to march in the right-hand lane until we got to a certain point over this one bridge when there was no sidewalks, and then once the sidewalks began, we would have to move over to the sidewalks. We would call the police at that point that we spoke to, and they would escort us on the sidewalk down to 441. And so when we got there, everything was great. There was maybe less than 200 people there. It was a very small protest, and you know, we all headed out with the intent of a very nice peaceful protest that shouldn't have taken us more than 2 hours to, you know, march down, say what we got to say, and march back. But instead, when we got over the bridge,
we were met with a literal army.
Florida state statutes prohibits remaining present at an unlawful assembly. If you remain in the area for any reason, you will be in violation of section 870.02 and subject to immediate arrest and prosecution for unlawful assembly. The following routes of dispersal are available to you. You can turn around, get on the sidewalk and off of Forrest Hill Blvd and walk back eastbound. The time
Before we even got to the point where we were supposed to call them, they were already there. Before we had even gotten down there, they had already created an army and a blockade to this street light, and we were one block down from our destination, one street light from our destination, and they blockaded us right in front of Olympia. You know, very important to say, which is a very high-end community where I'm sure they just didn't want our loud voices coming out and protesting in front of them.
This was in the city of Wellington.
And they knew, they told us we could have the right lane.
Yes.
They said that we were being unlawful and we wouldn't move into the right lane. However,
we complied the whole time.
Yep, every single time that they asked us, hey, you know, they saw one or two people coming over into the second lane, they'd ask us to move over, we would move over, there was no issues. Like I said, this was not a group of 10,000 people that was very hard to control. It was a very small group of people.
Less than 200. I mean, the ridiculous thing is that the way they're going to report this, and we've already seen articles about it, is they're going to change one thing to make the protesters look bad. And we're doing this video to tell you our firsthand experience. Not one single soul did anything wrong. We were exercising our First Amendment rights.
On a public sidewalk, nonetheless.
Public sidewalk.
That we have the right to walk on because we pay tax money to walk on that sidewalk.
They showed up with cops in riot gear, ready for a riot. There was a tank and there were riot shields. It was insanity.
The ratio of cop to protesters was out of control. I mean, we used to teach in a preschool, and the amount of teacher to children ratio is not even what they had
Staggering.
there. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable how many cops they had to each protester when we were there silently. And when they asked us to get off the road, when we first met them at the blockade, We said, hey, we spoke to you guys, like, we've already made this plan. You gave us the go ahead to make it to 441. We're one light away. Let us get there. And they started to threaten us, telling us that they were going to tear gas us, they were going to arrest every single one of us, that they were going to start to use different types of forces against us. And at that point,
on kids,
old
kids
people,
and high school students.
There was kids under the age of 10 there, many of them actually. And when they did tell us that, Nelly, one of the organizers, and Windermere asked everybody to take a knee. And at that point, every single person took a knee on the street to show our peaceful protest, and they still threatened us. They still said, you have 5 minutes to move off the road. And at this point, they're complaining about how we're blocking traffic. They had blocked off 6 lanes of traffic for 3 blocks.
We started about 5:30, 6 o'clock. We could have walked down and back, and we would have ended probably around 8:30.
Yeah.
We were there until midnight. We had to go.
We had a
and
long
then we
drive
found
home.
out that Windermere and the college professor, there
was probably like 50 protesters left with us at about midnight.
They didn't let them through until about 1:47, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
And their reason why they wouldn't let us walk there and back was our health and safety. But if that was their concern, they would have let us walk there and back.
And how about escort
Not in
us?
the dark. Not in the dark.
Yeah.
Wellington is the only city that gave resistance. Every other city, Jupiter, Stewart, everywhere else, they did not give resistance.
They don't want to hear our voices in Wellington.
Yeah. And that's what sucks.
Yeah. And it was really crazy to see. You'll see the videos that we post after this of us being peaceful and just talking to the cops and asking them why are you doing this? We have a right to walk on this public sidewalk.
To stop peaceful protesters and murder. Don't say a part of this is not say that you. Last woman, you are the last woman first before you are last. Don't forget that.
That's so messed up. They called an ACLU legal observer, and she literally said, "This is bullshit." And she's an observer.
They're making a way.
She has an unbiased opinion. She represents the law, and she literally told us this is bullshit.
Yep. She said they drew a line in the sand that we weren't allowed to do that one last block, and they were gonna stand until they were right. And you know what? Guess who won? We fucking won.
Fight's not over. And when they say defund the police, and I mean defund the police, I don't think that we should get rid of all police, but there needs to be a huge transformation. They had a tank and riot gear ready for
under 200
for old
protesters.
people, kids, high school students, college students, regular folk.
And they knew we were coming.
And not one
We didn't catch them by
person,
surprise.
not one person looted, rioted, or did anything that was illegal. We had every legal right to be there. And this is why we're making this video, is because you're gonna read about this on the news. Actually, you're gonna read about some weird snippet about this on the news. It's gonna get swept under the rug. And so that's why we're making this video, because you guys need to keep your eyes peeled when you watch videos and when you read articles. Please, 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 please.
Don't
just
listen
think,
to everything you read. And,
just think, critical thinking is important, please.
And this goes out to all those people watching the news and saying, oh, these rioters and these looters and these this and that. No one was rioting. Nobody was looting. And
our demonstration was peaceful. Our demonstration was peaceful. There's video evidence of it that our demonstration was peaceful.
And they kept moving in on us, closing us in, trying to trap us into little bubbles. They weren't wearing masks. They had their shields up. Were they protecting themselves from coronavirus? Were they protecting us from coronavirus? All of our protesters were wearing masks.
Some of those cops were there for literally 10 plus hours, and your taxpayers was paying for that bullshit.
Yep. It's really sad. That's good.
Matter! Police!
No badge numbers and no badge.
Oh, yeah, I seen a few of them take it off earlier.
No, none of them have cameras on them.
They're strapped with everything but cameras and badges.
By the state.
All this money for all this equipment, but no cameras at all. But yeah, we have all the technology in the world.
They got drones and shit.